Okay, part 3. So I just talked about my planner. Now I'm going to talk about what I'm doing for my personal curriculum. And I want to explain this because there's a larger culmination project that I'm trying to get made with all of my curriculum classes. I am forming a new belief system for myself. And that sounds weird and woo-woo, but where it comes from is I started to pay attention to after I got my autism diagnosis, I had to pay attention to where my understanding of the world did not match up with the way the world actually works. And that took a lot of painful lessons. But what I can overwhelmingly say that is true about myself, and I imagine many autistic people who are diagnosed later in life, is that we are seeing things correctly. We're just noticing a level of detail that most people don't notice and most people can't function with because they can't hold that level of information and still act in ways that they do. Like, I wasn't able to do that, and I had to start recognizing the areas of my life where I was like, no, I'm not going to pretend anymore that I don't see things that I do see. And I'm not going to pretend anymore like that doesn't matter. Because the more I've been able to honor what I see by validating it, by noticing that I'm noticing something, and then using that to accommodate myself, to be like, okay, you need a desk option that does these things and these things. It needs to do them. It can't just kind of do them. It can't do it sometimes. You need these things in a workstation. So how can we use a level of attention to detail to serve us, to make sense for us, and to people please ourselves? And so I did that. And the more I'm able to just be like, yeah, Michelle, you are seeing something correctly. Let's look into it. Let's be more curious about it, because maybe that's something that's like a puzzle piece that's going to help come together for us in a bit. So I've been interested in learning about different I don't think it's spirituality necessarily, because I was raised Catholic and I was deeply traumatized by the Catholic faith and practice. And I am coming out of having worked at a Catholic school for 10 years. And understanding very much what I see is true in the world and what I don't think is true. What I'm concerned with right now primarily is learning about myself and how I function as a human in the world, how to be a human. So the things that have helped me with that are tarot, for playing with the idea of the stories in my life, the archetypes, the dynamics, because I love having cards. That is something that I love right now is, and I haven't been able to buy any new decks for a while, and that's fine because I have a lot of really beautiful decks. But having something physical in my hands it's funny, ephemerality is the card that I pulled out, is what brings me joy, period. I'll say that much. And it's also been helping me to get back in my body, because I've had to relearn how to shuffle cards. I've had to learn how to slow down. And I've also gotten to enjoy the looking at different perspectives of situations that I've been involved in that have felt untouchable for me. A lot of things that have to do with shame, I've been able to kind of explore those through tarot cards and through the reprocessing of them, so that I can get to a neutral space with that. And that's taken a lot of work, but tarot is a really awesome, fun tool that I get to play with that helps me with that. And so my process of redefining what the tarot cards mean for me has been a big part of my tarot study. Another thing that's been fun for me is astrology. And astrology, I've been looking at how it's applied to my past. So I've been looking at what these different, the meanings of the, I guess the transits, but like also learning about the different energies that the planets embody and the zodiac signs and kind of like how that plays out. Like, to me, that's a super fun puzzle. Like, I love the idea of having some kind of like something to help me make sense of the past, in a way that helps me categorize things, which is what I need to do as someone who takes in too much information. I need to get the information from all these places, and then I need to know where to put it. So astrology is helping me put information in like bite-sized, manageable ways to re-engage with later. Astrology has been helping with that. Human design as like I think is a fun way to kind of help myself in the day-to-day. Human Design, The Creative Act, A Way of Being by Rick Rubin, Women Who Run with Wolves by Clarissa Pinkola Estes, Atomic Habits by James Clear, Self-Care for Autistics by Dr. Megan Nana Neff, and CPTSD by Pete Walker. Those books have been collectively my go-tos for maneuvering through my day-to-day, especially when I get to points like I talked about before where it's like an emotional flashback or a potential spiral. Like, those are what I use for that. And so what I am looking to do is to take the stuff that I've learned from each of those books and to infuse those ideas into my own deck of cards that is going to be kind of working with this concept that I have of of life in general, of what we're all doing here, because that's a really like meaningful way for me to structure my studies, and my purpose, and to kind of understand my purpose here, especially as I have completely shifted identities since the past 2 years. Anything that can help me to stay on track with like what me as a human is trying to achieve here, like that is what goes into my personal curriculum. I also have like, I don't know, I feel like stupid saying this, but I mean, for a long time I've like dreamed of devising a world peace plan. Like I shared that with my family a while ago, like 15 years ago, and they took that as like evidence that I was thinking too grandiose and bipolar. But I know now that that's like who I am. I care, and I try to care efficiently. I try to care in ways that actually matter instead of just bringing me down into a puddle of anxiety. So I've been like working on a masterpiece plan. Masterpiece. Get it? I'm an artist. And my artwork has always been about the brain and mental experiences in the past, and I'm lucky that that is a category of life that holds a lot of mystery still to all of us. So all of this is going towards like my contribution back to the world in the form of a masterpiece plan. Yeah. And I think that's what I want to share for this update brain dump that was probably 30 minutes long. Thank you.